All right, Nick, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, ready?
Yep.
Let's kick it.
Freshly picked and ready for consumption. Here comes another round of the Radishcast.
Another Radishcast coming in for you. I'm your fearless commissioner and bitch slapper, Mike Fisher. Along with me, just like every time, I'm my co-host Nick Spill Stoll and Jeff Bi-Week Warrior Gregory. Let's turn some rumors into facts.
And I hope Ben's the only one with me with the 2 bye weeks for 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Jeff's in rare company.
Elite, you could say.
Elite company. Only player for now. The only player that's guaranteed to have 2 years in a row of bye weeks. Never having to play that first round. Getting your guys.
I'll tell you what, guys, that's pretty tough and pretty hard to do. So
it is. It's so bad.
It is.
You actually got better. Last year you were the 2 seed in the toilet bowl. Now you moved all the way up to that 1 seed. It's elusive.
Go Jeff!
I'm all about improvement.
Oh, that's so gross.
However they may come. Our last weekly money winner this past week, the highest scoring rookie, which went to Joe and Javonte Williams having himself a day. None of us picked him, but I think part of that was because Melvin Gordon wasn't ruled out when we recorded. But Javonte went off.
Yeah, he looked
Still
good.
True.
I'm not happy about that.
Tuesdays, Nick.
bitch. I just hate it because of the view.
Why are you talking about Cooley?
CBS view. Oh, sorry. Cooley is bitch. I don't know. Mike is saying it, so I got to go with it. That's also in the contract.
It's been a while. He's been pretty quiet. I'm glad we were able to bring it back.
Yeah. No. So with that, we are in week 14. It's rivalry week, so we'll get into all of those side bets in the matchups themselves. Some good ones this year, a lot of different ones than last year. So it's curious how that keeps evolving. But the only other money thing I want to highlight is with one regular season game left, we're gonna soon know who gets the most points money. It's looking like it might be me.
Tooting his own horn. Only reason he brought it up early.
Yeah.
Well,
plus 60.
Since we didn't have any other money lines to talk about, I figured I'd bring up something. So yeah, as Jeff alluded to, Tony is 60 points behind me, so a monster week or a total dud by me could swing it. Monroe 65.5 or so behind me, so same kind of deal there. And then Ben back at 85 points behind me, but those are the only ones that are really. There's a pretty big drop off after Ben there, another 100 points or so. So yeah, those are the only ones that, if I have a real bad week, I'll have to keep an eye on. But otherwise,
I wonder how far back me and Jeff are.
Do you want to know that answer, or do you not want to know that answer?
Yeah, tell us.
I kind of want to know.
I'm gonna have to look up quick. I don't know offhand. So let's see. Jeff is at 1,200 points compared to my 1,640.
So pretty
440
close.
behind.
So
You're saying there's a chance.
A quick 440 this week, and you got it.
Monster week.
Nick's sitting at 1,325, so about 300 back. So
310, 13.
You guys are close. You're right there.
On striking distance, right where we want to be, really.
Right within
still early,
striking
right?
distance.
It's still early. We got time.
Oh. All right. Well, we'll do a similar thing we did last week. Throw the playoff odds up on the screen here for you. So, unfortunately, we're pretty clear. It's pretty well shaken out. There's a couple positions, bye weeks up in the air still, but more or less we're locked in. So You can see the 6 teams locked in. You can see the question mark next to Cooley's 100% because CBS doesn't seem to think that he's a lock, but I'm pretty confident he is. That'd be awesome.
Very confident. Yeah.
That'd be awesome though, if like we were all overlooking something, and I beat him and he thought he was in, and yeah, he's out for some reason. Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Cooley would just blame you, Mike. You would just say that you, as the commission, just
rigged
did something, rigged it.
Yeah.
Can already see him bitching.
Yeah.
Oh, long-time enemy now. He really is.
He is. Short-time enemy for now, but
Short time.
But yeah, like I mentioned, there's one bye in both the playoffs and the toilet bowl is locked up, and the other one is slightly up in the air. So those percentages are low as far as me getting the bye for the playoffs and as far as Joe getting the bye for the toilet bowl. But really, it's 1 win, 1 loss, and it happens. So both possible, but as it sits right now, it's looking pretty ironed out. But anything else in here interesting to you guys?
What is the scenario, Mike? You got to win, Ben's got to lose for you to take the bye, and then Joe's got to win. No, Joe's got to lose, and Troy's got to win for him to get the bye. So,
yep. If the Mud Dogs win, they'll pull even, and the Mud Dogs have the tiebreaker, so they'd move ahead.
Oh, yeah. Like, how does that work backwards?
It's always tough. I was writing a bunch of stuff out in my spreadsheet, and I got all the way to the end, and I was like, "Wait a minute! No, I need losers for the toilet bowl predictions." I went back and was redoing it. And, but we'll get into that next week. I've got some more data that I'll be sharing next week when playoffs actually start. One last note before we jump into the recap. I'll throw out. Finalize the rules and get them sent out before this week's game as far as how the Pro Bowl is going to work for us. And we'll kind of wing it. This year is going to be a learning year for it, but I think it'll be a fun little addition to the league. So
yeah, I like it a lot. That's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of a cool little thing.
The hope is to continue to have reasons to keep everyone involved, and I think that this rivalry week is a big thing there, right? So much stuff is shaking out. What's the point to care about week 14 of the regular season for most people? But there's a lot on the line, and a lot on the line around the league. So I'm excited for it. But
yeah, it's good. Where did you hear that idea from? Did you just come up with it, or did you read it on Reddit or something?
No, I came up with it, and then I actually posted it on Reddit asking for people's input on what they thought some good rules would be, and there was 1 or 2 people that said that they already do it and had some suggestions and stuff, and some other people that tried were saying they wanted to do it now, and so no, it's
a good idea.
Yeah, it is.
But all right, with all that out of the way, let's hop into the recap.
This here's the Radish Recap.
Radish Recap, we got Lick McCaff and Medak and Coach Jordan Chartier taking on Archduke Fish and Coach Mike Fisher. The Dukes were a 23-point favorite in this one, took the win 156-75. We all had faith in the Dukes here, and it worked out. Not a whole lot wrong on my side of the ball when, flexing Zach Ertz with 1.5 points, but other than that, George Kittle, the highest scoring player in the entire league this week, was a tight end. That's nice to see. Not a lot on my bench, pretty much all zeros. Everybody's hurt or wasn't playing or just put up duds, but the guys that were in there, T. Higgins had a monster game. 2 in a row, actually, 200-yard games in a row, touchdown in both.
He looks good.
Yeah, really happy with what I'm seeing out of him. That I don't know if you guys saw that catch he had in that Chargers game, that touchdown. Oh,
yeah.
He looks so good.
You jump out of your seat when you saw that, Mike?
I actually did. I was actually no. I was at Menards. I was at Menards. Of course. I was at Menards buying Christmas lights, but I had my phone. I had Red Zone on my phone. I had to push the cart because I had it sitting in the basket so that I could watch while I was pushing. And I believe I verbally gave like a let's go in the middle of Menards. So
just a whisper.
Let's fucking go. But no, yeah. Other than that, Jonathan Taylor, a lot of the same. Mike Evans and Tom Brady. Tom Brady getting it done, as he has been all year. But not a whole lot else to talk about. Just a good week overall. So Jeff, what about Jordan's side of the ball? Toss it over to you.
Yeah, I don't know if Jordan had any other options for that Boston Scott with putting up a 0, or if he was ruled out. I didn't see that if he was, but that right there kind of just set the tone for Jordan. He scored 75 points total and getting a 0 out of Boston Scott. And then really the only 2 bright spots on his team came from that Tampa Bay game with Gronk and Fournette. Other than that, everyone else was pretty subpar. And, Dak didn't have a really good game. Claypool, Cooks, all, just below average performances. So nothing he could really do this week, Mike, when you're putting up 156 points.
True.
But just not a real positive outing from Chartier and his squad.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the 2 guys that he did have, do something well. You're right. The way he was going to beat me is Leonard Fournette runs a couple in, and that's not Brady getting them. But you talked about Gronk had 2 touchdowns, but I got points for Brady. Fournette caught 1 touchdown, but again, that's all just balancing on my side. Nick, anything else in this one?
Yeah, and then Dak too, only putting up 11. That's tough. With that lineup, you need those key guys to perform, and it's hard, like you talked about, with having Brady on the other side, just counteracting all of it. God, your team is looking real strong going into playoffs. It's got to make you feel good here.
I'm hopeful, but not looking too far ahead. It's all a rivalry week.
One game at a time.
One game at a time. We got bitches to beat down. So.
Oh Jesus!
Don't we always?
Speaking of bitches, moving on to our next matchup, we got Grizzly Adams and Coach Alex Cooley taking on the SCLSU Mud Dogs and coaches Joe Harper and Troy Hecht. Grizz was a 12-point favorite in this one, took the win 98 to 48.76. Nick, you know why I'm giving you this one first. Got to bring us some joy, right?
Yeah, 51. I didn't think that was going to be touched, to be honest with you. That is such a low score. 48, Troy, and Joe, that is just god-awful. I mean, you have the potential, really, to put that up every week if Mahomes and Mixon don't do anything, and they did nothing this week. So you got just boned.
Let them hear it, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, Troy, I was rooting for you. I was texting you back and forth. I'm like, Mixon touchdown. I know it's still early.
You're just...
No, I was hopeful, but
because he needed the win over Cooley, would have helped his playoff odds.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that's all you care about.
I was rooting for him.
Going into that last game though with Sanders, he was probably like, I kind of hope Sanders doesn't do anything here.
50-mile-an-hour winds, like it was.
Yeah, I was definitely hopeful that it was going to be under 51 at that point after it was already out of reach.
Oh man, yeah, that's it's not a great game. Jumping over to Cooley's side of the ball, right? It's nothing crazy, nothing outstanding, but still putting up 97 points, 98 points, right there where you got to put up a solid day to beat him. So the Mud Dogs haven't put up a whole lot of 100+ games recently. So no matter what, I think Grizzly did enough here to put it away. Deontay Johnson, a big part of that, after doing almost nothing in the entire first half, comes out and has a really nice second half there. And then Hunter Renfrow, too, I think a big benefactor of Waller being out. He's getting even more looks than he was. The touchdown, this is probably one of the few games where the touchdown didn't come, but you're still really happy with a Renfrow outing. 100 yards, 9 catches, that's pretty solid. So, Tony Pollard had the one long run that kind of saved his day. Otherwise, it was pretty mediocre outside of that. So, those couple of big plays were enough to put Cooley to where even a solid to middle day from the Mud Dogs wasn't going to be enough. So, Jeff, what else you got in this one?
Nothing really. I got a segment in here that I'll just highlight.
Jeff's worst coach of the week.
And I'm not even going to highlight it because Nick did such a nice job laying into Troy and Joe. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So
salt into the wound. God, I'm sorry. I know that feeling, though, because my team sucks, too. So
no, that's all really I had. I mean, just a nice win for Cooley to lock in a playoff spot. And now he's got you. Rivalry week.
Yeah, it's tough not to be the worst coach of the week when you put up a new league record low. So moving on to our next matchup, we got I Am Left-Handed and Coach Kyle Monroe taking on Jay's Juggernauts and Coach Jeff Gregory. Lefties are a 20-point favorite in this one. Didn't quite cover, though. Took the win 108-94. This was an interesting game, and it got real interesting late. Jeff, I'm going to toss it over to you to talk just, about kind of that late game and what that was like.
Yeah, I had both the Patriots running backs and the kicker out there. And I don't know if anyone, you talk about the weather in that Patriots-Bills game, but I don't think anyone expected the Patriots to run it that many times. And, when Harris broke off that 64-yard touchdown run, pretty early in the game is kind of interesting. I was down by a lot, but, it got a little close towards the end. And even when Stevenson was getting all those carries in the late third, early fourth, all it took really was one of those long ones to bust out. And, all of a sudden it's a 5-point game and, who knows with the kicker going and two running backs. So, I like what I saw out of my squad. I don't like my quarterback and wide receiver play this week. Those wide receivers are the guys that I'm kind of counting on, and they put up another dud week all in general, getting sub 14 points from the group there. So a little disappointing, but, saw good things out of Goddard with Minshew. Kind of hope that he stays the quarterback. I don't think he's going to, but, there was an obvious connection early on there that benefited a lot. So.
Yeah, and especially, those running backs in that late game, right? Damian Harris obviously had some good work early, got the long touchdown run, and when he got hurt and went out, it was pretty much all Ramondre Stevenson. 3 yards a carry is not something you're excited about, but if you watched that game and you watched how those yards came, I mean, he was going against 9-10 man stacked boxes every time.
He looked good.
They threw the ball 3 times, right? Buffalo knew what they were going to do, but I thought he looked like a really good runner. Actually, I thought he broke some tackles. He was fighting for yards. He did a lot considering what he was going up against, and I don't think that the stat sheet necessarily shows it, right? 24 carries, 78 yards. That's not a game you look at from the outside, but if you actually watch that game, I think you'd be really excited about Ramondre. Nick, Kyle's side of the ball, what you got there?
He's back at full strength. A couple duds. I thought Hopkins, he didn't warm up. He didn't even go out there. I know I pulled him in a couple different lineups and substituted. He got a receiving touchdown, nothing crazy, 10 points. But Kyler Murray, the boy's back with 30 points. Van Jefferson keeps being solid. 6 receptions, 41 yards. And then that one touchdown. Hill down week. I mean, you're gonna live with him he's been mostly up, but a couple down weeks this year. So little boomer bust there. But I am gonna highlight one player here, Mike.
Nick's garbage time all-star.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage.
So my garbage time all-star is Kyler Murray. He rushed in a touchdown. It was 27-14 with about 6 minutes left. It really wouldn't have been the difference in our fantasy game, but it would have made it a little closer.
Close. Yeah. Especially in that Patriots game, the amount of times they were running, they got down within the 10-yard line at one point, and they were pounding away with Ramondre. If he could have busted that, I mean, watching that game, the difference in that touchdown would have been this is to win it all. So
exactly.
Yeah,
something too that a decision that I made just because of the weekly outing was the highest rookie. So I threw Trevor in there instead of Tua, who was or should have been the starter. So I would have gained 11 points right there and would have put me at 105. And Murray, your garbage time, it would have been. Would have been a lot more interesting the last couple minutes there. So
very true.
So you're saying worst coach of the? No, I'm just kidding.
Going for the money. I haven't won any weekly outings. I was going
That's
for
true.
it.
And honestly, it's not like the difference between Tua and Trevor Lawrence was like obvious where you're going to be, where it's like it's not like you're going against, Derrick Henry to play, some bum just to try to win money, right?
I think their
totally
projection was like
play.
1 point different in projection, so it wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah, totally reasonable, but makes sense to try to, play the rookie. So
it's some money.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got the Taint Ticklers and Coach Nick Stoll taking on Benny and the Jets and Coach Ben Stelzer. Taints are a 5-point favorite in this one. Jets won 117-113. Oh, man. If Kendrick Bourne could have caught one of those 3 passes that Mac Jones had thrown, maybe you could have got there. But no, Nick, I'll toss it over to you first. Talk us through this game a little bit.
Couple good outings here. Most of my team performed. Ingram didn't really. Higbee can't expect much more. And then it came down to Kendrick Bourne versus Diggs, and I think I had 3 points. Yeah, that's what that is.
Yep.
And I mean, Diggs, it was real close until I think what was I down like a point or something like that. So I needed a catch, and then Diggs had that long 20-yard grab. I was like, it ain't happening.
That was one of the last drives too, wasn't it? It was pretty
was.
Good into the fourth there.
And then I needed them to score there. They didn't. So I was like, oh, they're just going to run the ball. It's over. Kendrick Bourne did have 3 rushing yards, though. So there's something.
I saw him in some jet sweep motion early in the game, and I think I remember texting you. I said, if you're going to get it, it's probably going to be maybe a rush that he can break for, maybe if he breaks a 20-yard rush to get you a little buffer, but it doesn't seem like it would have mattered. He was never going to get enough rushing yards to make that a game. But
and there's no way I was starting Galladay, so.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. If there was anything you really could have done differently, and that would have been the only play. But I agree with you. You were going to go with Bourne over Galladay. There's not much you could do there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that hurts. But Jeff, what about Benny's side of the ball? Got enough to get it done. Pulls to 10 wins.
Yep. Cooper Kupp was down for most of the game, and then all of a sudden he just turned it on. And when he did, he put up a lot of points quick. So, getting close to 23 points there. Nick, you texted us, Gage is just killing me. He actually had a pretty solid outing. And then James Conner, kind of a guy that's just been really, really solid and performing good for Ben here, getting touchdowns, I think, every week.
He almost scored another one, that goal line stop by Chicago there. Really? 3 times they rushed Connor. I was like, please, good God. That was early on. It didn't matter, but
yeah. Even Lockett too. I mean, he had a pretty solid game with that receiving touchdown. So, Ben with Cook out and having to play Booker and Aaron Rodgers on his bench, it just shows that he's got a lot of potential in this team, and to still put up 117 points with some of his main guys out is pretty impressive on that side. So sorry, Nick, but he got enough to get it done.
True. Bye playoff hopes.
Yeah, those are buried. Onto the toilet bowl, right?
Yep. Getting
Pride.
Ready. No,
Pride on the line.
Rivalry week. John first.
1 week at a time. 1 week at a time. You got that potato you got to get out of your pocket.
Yeah, true. You don't want to be eating that potato at the end of the night.
No, I don't.
Moving on to our next matchup, we got Old Man Joe and Coach Todd Thomas taking on Aaron Rodgers' football team and Coach Tony Fisher. Football team are 25-point favorites in this one. Did not quite cover 119-106. Actually took them a little longer in that Monday night game to cover. There was some points there where it looked like Josh Allen wasn't going to do anything, and he wasn't going to be able to get it done. But Justin Jefferson, the moment Adam Thielen went out, started catching every ball that came toward him, and he really had a monster day there. Elijah Moore, the early touchdown, getting a lot of work there. Corey Davis is looking like he's going to be down for a bit here. So the Elijah Moore show. But other than that, couple solid outings, but those two really propelled Tony's team, especially in a week where Josh Allen only scores 11 points. Herbert with the 25 on his bench, but if Allen's healthy, you're starting him every week just because of what he can do. But But yeah, 119 points is solid. What's that, second highest score on the week? So, still another solid day from Tony here. Nick, toss it over to you with Joe's side. What do you see in here?
Yeah, a little above his Mr. Consistency average here. Good
Spike
game out
week.
of Cousins. Yeah, huge spike week. What, 7 points or something? I don't know what his actual average is, but yeah, decent week by Cousins. I mean, Williams right there. We talked about how he won the money. Big game with no Gordon in there. Madison sneaking into that lineup with Cook out. That's gotta feel nice. Decent game by Joe here. Got a couple tough the receivers didn't perform. I think combo, what is that, like 14 points, 15 points? So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, having AJ Brown out and TJ Moore on bye, that receiver room looked pretty rough this week. But when you actually do slide down onto his bench there, he's got Amon-Ra St. Brown. Had the heroic game-winning touchdown. Not sure you're ever starting him. He hasn't done a lot this year, been super consistent with anything. And then Deontay Harris similarly, right? He's caught a couple deep bombs, but he's not been a solid player. I think if I'm Joe, I probably roll this exact same lineup. So I don't think there's anything he necessarily could have done here. But Jeff, anything else in this game?
The only thing that I was surprised when I looked at this was he had Montgomery on his bench, and I don't know if I would have played him over Sanders or what the decision process there was, but would have got a couple more points. It wouldn't have mattered or done or made the difference by any means, but it was kind of interesting to see that. But no, Tony just as he has all year, just puts up big numbers week in and week out and found enough to win this one. And you guys mentioned it really comes down to Joe's wide receiver room that didn't perform for him this week, and that's where you can kind of pinpoint the downfall. So
I think the matchup with the Jets probably was enough to swing him to Sanders over Monty, but I agree that's a tough call. I guess take the matchup, and then at that point Madison against Detroit, another matchup play. So, but
you can see it.
Real strong running back performances from a team that we thought was pretty down in the dumps and only had wide receivers. So. Got to be exciting to see. Maybe we'll get to hear his take on that in a little bit.
Not exciting at all.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got Ball is Life and Coach Sean Lamers taking on Cobra Kai and Coach Kyle Stankowski. Ball was a 19-point favorite in this one. Took the win 105-80. Jeff had faith and was rewarded as such for that. Jeff, toss it over to you first. What you got in this one?
Yeah, I was tuning into this one pretty heavily, actually, just because that was one of the games that I picked the opposite of both of you, so I was trying to differentiate myself from the pack a little bit here. But Thielen going down on Kyle's side, that as soon as that happened, that kind of really, really helped. Tim Patrick, I was watching him versus Judy, and Judy was getting the targets, was getting the receptions. Rondell Moore, 1.5 points. James Robinson had an early fumble that pretty much sat him on the bench the rest of the game. So he had some, from Kyle's standpoint, had some pretty bad underperformers, but had some bright plays with Sony Michel, Elijah Mitchell, and Gardner Minshew. Kind of a nice pickup that he did. Insurance play with Hurts was going to be out, and he ended up being out. So, it's positive to see that he got almost 19 points out of him, but just not enough to cover for Joe or John's team there.
Yeah, and John, 105 points is his best week in a little while here. He's had a couple of down weeks, but still, you look at 105 points. That's the 7th highest scorer on the week. So I'm really curious. That's a team I'm really watching coming into playoffs here, right? Started out first couple weeks he was bad, and then just went on a tear. Was awesome. Was scoring crazy points. You really thought, okay, this is a team that's really going to emerge. And since then, it's come back down to earth. So I'm really going to be watching them, John's team here come playoffs. But Nick, toss it over to you. What else you got in this game?
Yeah, even going off of that, I mean, we talked about it last week with them. It's that receiving core where they have not really been that good, and their big names, Chase and Metcalf and Williams, just they haven't performed lately. They did decent this week, but nothing great. Gay doing his best Folk impression there with 15 points out of the kicker.
Yeah, that'll do it for you.
That'll do her.
Yeah, I know Jamar Chase had probably a guaranteed touchdown, dropped right in the breadbasket, fell off his hands, turned into a pick. So, you don't hold that kind of thing against a player, right? They're not going to stop throwing in those balls when he's wide open. So, that goes his way. Suddenly, John's in the 120s and it's a different story. So, definitely right there. Definitely, a lot of talent on that team, but just not all hitting at the same times, but enough to get it done here, enough to secure his playoff spot. So, with all that, taking a look at the standings, so Nick and I both were 2-4 this week. Jeff pulled a 4-2 week, takes a 1.5 game lead over me. So Jeff dead even 39-39.
Let's go, baby.
1.5 game up on me. Does that put you 2.5 up on Nick? So Jeff is first lead in a little while here. It was Nick for a while, it was me for a bit. Jeff, coming out of the woodwork.
Just got to stay true. It was too early. Had to make that late
after my
push.
pride and joy.
There it is.
I can't believe I gave up all those games so early. I'm pissed.
Oh, yeah.
2-12. Screw you, Jeff.
All right, well, let's get on to the games. What everybody came here for, Rivalry Week, baby.
Dive on into the Husky League matchups.
Husky League matchups, we got Lick McCaff and Medak at 5-8, taking on the SCLSU Mud Dogs at 3-10. Lick McCaff is a 12-point favorite in this one, and on the line, an interesting rivalry week bet. They had last year the tattoo bet that I think is still outstanding, but this year the loser has to buy tickets to the home opener of the highest scoring non-QB on the winner's team. Ooh. So this is this is kind of all over the place, right? They don't even know where they're going. So I'm curious. This is one that's gonna be real interesting to me. Yeah. I'm curious to hear what you guys are thinking. As I look at these teams, right? Decent chance it ends up being in Cincinnati, maybe, or a Joe Mixon. Decent chance it ends up being in Tampa Bay, Fournette, or could be some. Not that it's lame to go to a Packer game, but right, Farron Jones, that's how unexciting would that be? Like, oh, we could go to Tampa Bay, we could be going to Arizona. No, we're going to Green Bay. Like, not really a trip there, but cool. Curious to hear where you guys think this one might end up. But Jeff, I'm gonna toss it to you first. Who you got in this one?
I have Chartier in this one. I think that. You look at his lineup, he's got Fournette, he's got Jones, he's got enough there with his wide receivers. I think those level out, if not go past Troy's wide receiver matchups. I don't love the Sutton play, but they are going against Detroit. Maybe he gets a few more targets, a little easier of a matchup. 12 points is kind of a lot here from what we've been seeing out of Jordan, especially since he put up 75 points last week. So I'm not excited or loving it, but I just, I think he's got enough here for this week to take down Troy's team. So that's where I'm rolling.
Yeah, and I'll echo that. I'm gonna pick Jordan this one as well. Gronk has really been coming on real strong lately, and I think that Buffalo game is going to be a high-scoring game. Buffalo's defense didn't do anything to inspire confidence in me this last week, so where at the start of the year they were kind of looking like a fearsome defense. They had a few injuries, a couple of guys out for the season, so now it's starting to look like they're a little more exploitable maybe. So I think between Fournette, Gronk, and Aaron Jones, that's enough firepower that Jordan can get it done here. So I'm going to go with Jordan as well. Nick, toss it to you.
Yeah, 12 points, both coming off of some pretty crappy games. I was looking at the Mahomes matchup. He absolutely went off last time they played Vegas. He's had a couple down weeks recently. Mixon being hurt, you kind of question about that, but he's got P. Ryan in there to take any of the slack. All that being said, I'm still going to take Jordan to cover this. I just don't think there's enough at the other positions to I think Dak gets right. I know he had a crappy game last week. I think that Washington defense is pretty poor, over under 48 in that game. So, I'm taking Jordan to cover that 12 points.
All right, clean sweep from us then. Moving on to our next matchup, we got Grizzly Adams and at 7-6, almost said the coach name. Oh, we didn't want to say Alex Bitch. Taking on Archduke Fish at 9-4.
Just slip it in there.
Grizz is actually a 6-point favorite in this one. On the line for us here, right? The loser has to buy a Valentine's Day package for the winner's significant other, but maybe a little more. So the winner gets to hire a graphic designer to create, whatever logo they want for their team moving forward. So, whatever Grizzly Adams or Archduke Fish, something professional up to $150. I'm excited to get a designer in here and really work on the Archduke Fish brand. Maybe get some flags, get some gear. So I'm pretty excited about it. But but Nick, I'm gonna toss it to you first. Who do you got in this one?
Oh, it's a tough one. No JT in there for you. Is Gordon going to be back for this game against this juicy matchup?
He practiced today.
You swayed me. I'm going with Mike on this one. Barkley against the Chargers. I don't know what the game script's really going to look like. Those Chargers, I can never pin them down if they're going to blow up and blow people out, or if they're just going to let people stay around. They have a good pass rush, but they're 27th against the opposing running back. So that's
bad
good
rush
for
defense.
you. Yeah, that's good for you. I think Foreman still continues that. He had 100 yards last time. 2 weeks ago they played. So I know he didn't have that long touchdown play, but they are giving him a lot of work. So I'm taking you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with myself also. Tony Pollard cropped up on the injury report today, kind of out of nowhere, and Cooley really does not have anything. If that were to be the case, he's really kind of up a creek if that were to happen. So
he's starting He's starting Davis, so
he's already starting Mike Davis. That's what I'm saying. Deebo Samuel, I'm sure Cooley's very hopeful he's going to play. I think maybe, be safe, San Francisco. Maybe give him another week to heal. Maybe 2 weeks to heal.
Listen.
2 weeks.
But no, I there's always the chance that he doesn't go, or maybe, if he does go, they just try to take it a little bit easier on him. And that only means good things for George Kittle, right? You just saw Kittle have, a monster game last week. The reason I traded for him was for that ability. The ability to match up with a Travis Kelce and not feel like I'm, losing at that position. So I'm happy with my guys. I'm taking myself in this one. Jeff, what you got?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to play Deebo. And if you look at Cooley's bench, he really doesn't have anyone that he can slide in there that you're happy or positive with. Not that they would ever be what Deebo's been, but I'm also going to go with you, Mike. Your guys are just juicy this week. I think Barkley has a pretty good matchup, like Nick said. Marquise Brown is just a dangerous matchup at any given week. He could take a catch for a touchdown, get 150 yards and a touchdown just on it whenever he wants, it seems like. So, yeah, I'm going to go with you, Mike. I'm going to pick the Archduke.
So I actually missed
Tom
this.
Brady
but,
is... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I'm surprised that Tom Brady projection is only 16 points coming off that big game, and against Buffalo, the over-under of 53.5. I don't know. That seems a little strange too. So that might be another reason we can say.
Yeah, it almost seems like they're kind of thinking of, maybe they've got some year-long projections again where Buffalo's defense looks like it's a tougher matchup than it's been lately. Right. But the last 2-3 weeks they just haven't been the same. But I also forgot to hit this drop for this game.
Hot diggity dog! It's the game of the week.
Jeff, I'm gonna let you to describe why this is the game of the week. This was your choice for it.
Yeah, I was hoping Nick would jump in and give some input, but
sorry, I was getting ready.
No, this is the game of the week. When you look at it, the matchups across the board, there's a lot riding on this. Mike, you win, Ben loses, you come into that bye spot. Tony and Kyle have a juicy matchup, being two high-scoring teams, but it's already decided. There's nothing really that'll change too much there. So when you start looking at it across the board, the thought that you might have to play Cooley 2 weeks in a row is intriguing as well if things don't fall right for you. So there's a lot riding on this one, whereas the other ones, everything else is kind of locked up.
Yeah, it's interesting. Last year we had this same Monroe and Tony matchup, which was winner gets the division title. Last year, Troy had an outside chance at the division title if Cooley were to lose and he were to win. And so there was a lot of, there's some jockeying going on. This year, all the division winners are decided, all the playoff teams are decided, just some minor moves up. So maybe not as impactful as it always, hopefully will be in years to come, right? Rivalry week is going to continue to be an important week across the year, being right before playoffs. But I think that's solid. Nick, anything else to say on that?
Nope, Jeff got it all.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got Old Man Joe at 4-9 taking on Jay's Juggernauts at 1-12. Old Man Joe is a 21-point favorite in this one, and on the line, same as last year, the loser has to buy a jersey for the winner out of the winning team's lineup. So the winner gets to choose a player, they get that jersey. So before we actually jump into this matchup, we had a chance to sit down with Joe and see his sweet digs from last year's win. Toss it over to that interview right now.
Bye. Let me get a beer. I'm running.
So we didn't. All right, welcome into the studio, Coach Joe of Old Man Joe.
What? Joe, same tomato.
I mess up sometimes. I'm trying my best.
Been how many years? God damn.
See, I think I got caught between saying Coach Joe and saying Old Man Joe. I don't think it was between Joe and John. I think I was caught between Joe and Old.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. True.
It is Joe. So
I like to think I'm not that bad of a friend, but who knows? But anyway, Joe, welcome in. I see you're rocking, fitting for Rivalry Week, the AJ Brown jersey.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Fuck it, Jeff. To be rocking this one. Unfortunately, he can't play for me this week, but
that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'm happy for that.
Jersey this year. I don't have to get the same one.
Hey, that actually that kind of leads me into my first question for you, Joe. Here, we'll get right into it.
All right.
Who, if you are lucky enough to win, I don't think it's going to happen for you, bud, but who on your squad this year would you be looking for?
I think it's got to be Javante.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got the rookie. I think Denver's jersey is kind of cool on top of that. So I think you got to go that way. He could
the
be good.
The blue or the orange?
Ooh.
I haven't thought about it yet. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Yeah, you won't need to.
Yeah.
So last year for this, did you get to pick which jersey, like, home away, all that, or was it just Joe, Jeff just surprised you with one of them?
Yeah, I really didn't have that big of a preference which one last year, and Jeff recommended the powder blue, so I went for it.
It's pretty sweet. I like it.
Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah, I was looking online and they had just the regular dark blue ones, and then I scrolled across this one. I was like, this one's pretty dope. So I shot a picture over to Joe, and he's like, "Yep, that works."
When you first popped on, I assumed it was a Lions jersey, and then I was like, "Oh wait, no, that's got to be the AJ."
Yeah,
so we don't
own one of those anymore.
Yeah, we don't support that team, right, Joe?
Even after the big win.
Yeah, okay, I'm in. I'm fully in.
We're back.
I'm back.
I'm back.
Terrible.
All right, Joe, I got the next question here. So you had a lot of pick acquiring at the start of the year. I know you traded Keenan Allen to me for Fant and a bunch of first round, second round, a bunch of other picks. So what was the thought process going into the season? Did you not think you could compete? Did you think I know Kyle, I talked to you a little bit about that. Kyle's team looked really good, and you didn't think you were quite there. So just talk us through that a little bit.
Really, I mean, of the I think when I had rankings set up, I had Kyle and Tony as like the top, within the top 4 pretty much consistently. And being in that division, I thought it was going to be real tough sledding. So my team was already pretty young. Had a couple, like Keenan he didn't fit the bill, right? Everybody else was 26 and under or something, and he wasn't. So I was trying to fit everybody into about the same window. So I thought it made sense to get a little bit younger and go that direction.
Probably a good decision.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you sitting with?
Sitting at 4 wins right now.
Yeah.
4 wins. 4 first, 2 for next year, I think.
Yeah, 6-game losing streak is kind of rough, but
Good. Hopefully it does. Well, hopefully it gets to 13. So
Yeah, Jeff needs somebody to take the mantle. Sold off some of those players for picks, but averaging looks at 93 points a game right now. In the bottom section of the league here. Do you think that's enough though? Do you sold off some picks, but is it worth it if it nets you a toilet bowl this year? Do you think how do you feel about your chances getting out of that? How do you feel even this week against Jeff in rivalry week?
I'm pretty confident going into this week, to be honest. My running backs are starting to. I think Javante's starting to hit, and then Sanders and Montgomery are both somewhat healthy. I see Montgomery's got an injury tag again, but they're starting to come back a little bit better. So I think I got a decent chance this week and should be able to skate out of the losers bracket, hopefully.
Yeah, because if this week's kind of important to you. You're the only one that can slide into that toilet bowl bye week if you pulled a loss and Troy happened to pull a win.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll play it out, I think. I'm still playing for the win here.
Confident in getting it.
I'm kind of hoping Dalvin Cook is healthy enough to play, and then that Madison doesn't look as good, but
right.
I don't know. That's hoping a lot right now.
Who's he sliding up in there? If not, Joe, who are you thinking about sliding in there if Cook
there's
plays?
not a lot of depth left, so it would be Burkhead or somebody probably.
Oh, gross. That's disgusting.
Joe, we've been touching on it. You made quite a few acquisitions, some trades. You're talking about some of your guys this year. Is 22 the year you're kind of gearing up for, or even going into next year? Do you think you're a year out, 2 years out? What's kind of the projection for your team that you're thinking?
I'd love to say next year's the year. But if I got 4 first rounders, the likelihood of them all hitting as rookies I'm not that confident in. Give them a year or 2. So I'm thinking, 23 probably would be a little bit better year, but they should be improving from here on out. It's the goal.
Because what picks does he have? Do you guys know or remember?
In 23?
No, who's
in 22? Joe has his own first, Cooley's, Monroe's, and Nick's. All of those 22 firsts. So Nick's is starting to look like a pretty nice pick.
Yeah,
that's very true.
That turned out better than I thought it was gonna.
My team sucks. I'm sick of it.
When you got 3 other teams, the odds are one of them's gonna, something's gonna happen. One of them will fall out. Cooley's there almost even ended up being a top 6 pick, is looking like for a little bit. So,
right.
Yeah, decent decision making. All right, the next one. The most disappointing player on your team. I know you have a bunch to choose from, just not living up to quite the expectations. Sorry, Joe, that was kind of rude. But, you look at these names, and you're like, at the start of the season, I thought it was pretty decent, a couple of these guys. But I'll let you go into who you're most disappointed in.
I think there's 2 that come to mind for sure. But between A.J. Brown's been just not himself. I was thinking he'd be a top 10 receiver this year, and definitely has not been. He's been banged up a little bit and then just hasn't performed that well when he has been in. And then Ayuk, coming into the season, I thought was going to be, a stud. I didn't think he'd be, a number one, but I thought he'd be a real good number two receiver, definitely a monster number three. And, he's kind of been a dud. He's had a couple decent weeks of late, but it's been a real slow year for him. So I'd probably go that route.
Yeah, traded the wrong one.
Yeah, I know.
I was in the same boat, though. We were just talking before you got on here, Joe. I thought Ayuk was the sure stud there, and Debo took a step back. But
right. Yeah, everything I had read was going that direction. But and then, Burrow hasn't been an amazing return yet. I know he's still got potential, but really hasn't had that great of a year. So
very true.
Burrow's got those weapons though on that team where you would think that he's going to turn it around if they can protect him and he doesn't just get injured. Yeah, that's the big thing. He's got the weapons, just no line.
Yep. Well, Joe, you got a young team, but you are still old man Joe. So let me toss it on over to your segment.
Joe's Elderly Lock.
Get off my lawn!
I never remember what any of these drops are. It's been a year since I've used it.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. So, Elderly Lock, I think the way I described it last year was somebody who is, kind of above their peak age and should be trending down, but is still going to be a stud next year. So I tried to look at like each position group for this. Looking at it like a tight end, right? Travis Kelce's 32 already, so you would think would be on his downslide, but he's still by far the best tight end, so he's up in consideration. Receivers, I really didn't see a ton of anybody who's super old who's still really performing that well. So I kind of cut them out of it. Running backs, outside of like Cordell Patterson being a freaking unicorn this year, I don't really, see anything or expect them to do well next year either. But I think it had to be an obvious choice here, and Brady. Tim is 44 already. He's the number one freaking quarterback this year. So he'll be 45 next year. He's had talk saying, he wants to play through 45. So that could potentially be his last year. He might try to, ride out with a bang. So I think he's going to continue to be good this year and into next year. So he's got to be my elderly lock.
I love it. I hope that he does play that 45-year season, because otherwise he's a 1-year rental for me. But I'm okay with that. He's been awesome. Yeah, 44 years old. That's insane. I can't imagine.
It blows my mind. I keep forgetting about that. Like how old he actually is.
Friggin' old.
Play. Yeah.
Yeah. You look at
play-wise, it doesn't seem it at all.
Look at Ben Roethlisberger. He looks like the oldest man. Like can't move, do anything. He's 39.
Yeah, he's so bad. Just retired 3 years ago.
Like Phillip Rivers when he was getting out of the league. Like he just turned 40, so he was like 39 last year when he was playing and looked like he couldn't move.
Or throw more than 15 yards.
It's just crazy. Yeah.
Brady and that son, he's looking younger and younger every year.
Oh my God, he's gonna be there till 50, dude.
That'd be pretty sweet. Well, all right, Joe. Well, we appreciate you coming by. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always a blast.
I don't think that I'm legally allowed to say good luck this week, just because I think I would lose a host if I did. So,
good luck.
Best
Joe.
of luck in the toilet bowl.
It's in our contract, right, Mike? We can't be against the other people.
It's part of Jeff's compensation package.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, we appreciate you coming by. Appreciate you stopping by. Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Joe. See you, Joe.
See ya.
All right, fun interview there with Joe. Nice to see the Sweet 11, the AJ Brown digs from this year. So, Jeff, hopefully maybe you can, get your own, not have to keep shelling out for Joe's wardrobe.
I got to make some decisions on my side of the ball, which jersey would look the sweetest. So that comes into play too with the guys that I'm going to be throwing out there.
At the end of this, make sure you let us know where you're leaning. But
I will.
yeah, I'll start this one. Looking at this, so our line here, what do we got? Joe by 21. That's a pretty hefty line. Mm-hmm. I think Javante's projected pretty high, but I'm not sure that Denver's just going to go right back to giving him everything. If Melvin Gordon's back, I think it's going to go back to being the 50-50 split it was. We talked about Debo a little bit. If he's back, Ayuk goes right back to not being much of anything. And DJ Moore in that Carolina offense, I don't have analysis for that because I don't know what is happening there, right? It's all over the place.
He's projected 14 too. What?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
There's just a lot of questions. 21 points is a lot, especially if you've got that many questions. Even Monty going against a Green Bay defense that's been really good all year. You look at a 43-point over-under where Green Bay is favored by almost 2 touchdowns. There's not a lot of points to be had there. So I'm going to take Jeff in this one. I think he's got enough to, at the very least, cover the 21 points. So, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give it mine.
Mike's against the expert's pick.
Are you gonna listen to a big dummy, or are you gonna listen to me?
Yeah, I know most of my reasoning comes down to not loving Joe's guys, but on the other side of the ball, Rashad Penny's only projected for 5 points. I think that, Adrian Peterson didn't do anything to look, like he's going to get a bunch of work. I think Penny could continue to grow that role, especially against an exploitable Houston team. So, Nick, toss it over to you. What do you got in this one?
All those reasons you're talking about, that big spread, me not loving Joe's team, but then you jump over to Jeff's team, and I don't really love much there either. You're stacking the Washington wideouts against Dallas, hoping that's going to be a high score and hit the over. That 48 is what the over is. You got a lot riding on that game. Mooney has been good. Is Robinson coming back this week? I don't know. We already talked about that. Giving up 12.5 points. Oh, God. I could see Joe beating you by 21. But, it's so hard. I'm taking Joe just because I got to get different. I have Jeff written down here, but I'm taking Joe. Looking at your lineup more, Jeff.
All right. Jeff, what do you got in this one? Have faith in yourself?
I do. I'm gonna 21 points is a lot of points. Mike, you mentioned Penny. I saw a report here today that Alex Collins is back, but they think that Penny's going to be involved and could get some substantial amount of work. So, we'll see how that progresses throughout the week here. Jacobs has been looking really good, and with Drake going down, I think he's going to command more of that backfield and might even be a 3-down back against the Chiefs. I don't mind Samuel if he's healthy. They've been putting him on snap counts or limits, I should say. And hopefully that Dallas game is a pretty high scoring game, like you mentioned, Nick, that they just start slinging the ball around, but we'll see. So I think I got enough here to stay within that line. And hopefully, if I'm lucky enough, take a win. If I do win, the jersey that I'm kind of looking at that I think would be pretty sweet would be, like that dark brown Washington jersey that they have. Mm-hmm. Get a Terry McLaurin, one of those. I think that
I figured you should go Scary Terry.
Yep.
That's where you're going last year, right? That's where you're headed.
I think it was that or Ridley, one of the two. So
yeah.
But Scary Terry is pretty good.
A Penny one. Those got some cool. You get the green.
If he's even around next year.
So you can not. So you can have him being on a practice squad of some other team next year, and you can be wearing it.
That'd be pretty sweet.
If I put Lawrence in there, which I'm not quite sure who I'm going to roll with for the quarterback position, I think Lawrence jersey would be pretty cool. A Jaguar.
I think you're unlucky with Tua being on bye. I think a Tua jersey would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Dolphins,
definitely.
So. But no shot at that one. So Joe's got a little start-sit question here for that wide receiver 3. I see he's got Traquan Smith in there right now, but looks like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Laviska Shenault are also in consideration here. Traquan going against the Jets there is fine. Let's see what else. New Orleans, that's there. Amon-Ra going against Denver. Denver's defense has been solid, and Laviska against Tennessee. So, I don't have any overly high lean here. I might go with Amon-Ra and just hope that, with the heroics from last week, that big last drive, maybe Detroit tries to get him a little more involved. I'm telling myself a story there, and I don't know that there is, any statistic that's going to shove me to anyone else. Traquan still had 7 targets last week. He's been getting the targets. He's been on the field. Yeah, I'd probably stick Traquan. I don't know that I could talk myself into starting Amon-Ra. Jeff, what about you?
Yeah, the Traquan with me is if, Hill's finger got banged up too, so I don't know how much he's going to be throwing the ball. I don't think they're going to throw it 41 times like they did last week. So, that could be a little elevated, but they are going against a bad Jets team too. So, he's up there. I don't think I go Shenault. I haven't seen enough out of that Jacksonville offense to scream like, hey, he needs to be a must start there. And then St. Brown, he's intriguing, Mike, mostly like you were saying because of the last game, but he's been out on the field all year, has a pretty high snap count that he gets. So, I'd be between St. Brown and Smith, and if you went either one, I wouldn't be shocked. So,
Nick, you gave me a pretty gross face when I brought up St. Brown. What are you thinking in this one?
I don't know. That matchup's really tough. I can't see Detroit really doing much against that Denver defense. They look pretty good. Smith, we got Kamara coming back. He's going to take some of those targets away. That's what I think is going to happen. But shoot, I don't know who you start. It's all just not good. I mean, St. Brown riding the hot hand off 12 targets. I can see that, but I can see that also you getting tricked into it. But it's not like you have any other options, to be honest. Oh man,
final decision.
I can't even. I don't know Shenault because the matchup is so juicy. But good God, his ceiling and floor is 3 points.
So, not him.
So not. Yeah.
I'm going
who
with
you got?
him.
You're going with Shenault, huh? Okay, well.
So you think that Smith
a ceiling and a floor of 3
Brown
points
are going to
is
score
the move.
less than 3 points?
Yes, I think they're all going to score around 5. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to our
So,
next
wait a
matchup.
minute.
We got the Tate Ticklers at 5-8 taking on Ball's Life at 8-5. Ball's a 14-point favorite in this one. On the line here, we got the winner designing a license plate holder for the loser's car. Get to wear that a year, blah, blah. Who cares? The loser has to carry a potato around for the entire draft weekend and then eat it at the end of the weekend. That's all I care about. I'm excited for Potato Bet. Man, I don't know if there's much. Like, even if it doesn't end up being that cool, it's still going to be the potato. It's always the Potato Bet, right? It's awesome. I love it. All right, so John's a 14-point favorite in this one. Jeff, I'm going to throw it to you first. Who you got here?
Man, you guys see the report? Nick, you got Keenan Allen in here still. Is he out with COVID, or is he
Probably.
he's on IR?
Probably, but not for sure.
Okay. Because same thing with Mike Williams. There was something about him potentially being out too. So I don't know.
Both are probable, but not for sure.
Okay.
As being out.
Yeah, I don't know if that changes too much. I like John's side here, so I'm going to go with John covering that 14 points. I see that Rams-Arizona game on Monday night. That's going to have to be a pretty high-scoring game. Dylan, I've seen here recently a lot of good things. So, I could see that being more of a 50-50 split with Aaron Jones in that backfield. One of these days, Judy's just going to have to explode. Why not against Detroit, So, and then Chase, like we mentioned, he could have had a 60-yard bomb for a touchdown pretty easily if it doesn't bounce off his hand. So Metcalf has a pretty favorable matchup against the Texans. So I think there's enough good matchups here that I'm going to go with John covering that 14 points.
Yeah, I'm going John, but for the total opposite reason. It's because I see names like Allen Robinson and Kenny Galladay in on the other side of the ball. Right, those are your best moves, but you could just as easily, Allen Robinson and Keenan Allen might not go, and then you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Oh, God.
Deshaun Jackson and Randall Cobb being in there doesn't inspire much hope either. So I'm gonna have to side with John here. I think he's got enough. He's got mostly his normal group of guys. You're missing, a Kendrick Bourne this week, Michael Pittman. A couple of those guys that are kind of regulars of your lineup as of late. So I think John's got enough. The 14-point spread doesn't scare me. I'm taking him. What about you, Nick?
I'm also taking John. My team does not look good with no Keenan Allen in there too. Dude, this is it's awful. I mean, you have that top side, Gibson and Kamara and Godwin playing decent, but that's not going to be able to overtake his team. You didn't even touch on Najee Harris against Minnesota. I think he's going to have a great game against that crappy Minnesota team. So defense-wise, yeah, it's not. His team looks good, has pretty good matchups all the way through, and my team probably wouldn't start three of those guys on, or at least two of them on any other team.
Who are you starting in place of Keenan Allen if he is out?
Oh God, that's the age-old question here.
Shepard if he goes?
No, I'm definitely not double stacking the Giants.
Giants receiver.
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know what else.
Maybe
Cobb.
Maybe Johnson or Cobb. David Johnson if he's healthy.
Yeah.
Cobb, throw him in there. Deshaun Jackson, yeah, like Mike said, those are literally the three.
Yeah, if it was like 5-6 years ago, those would be sick options.
Yeah. I know, that'd be great.
Randall Cobb, David Johnson, and Deshaun Jackson 6 years ago. Oh, that's a nice lineup.
They're starting every week for me.
Oh man. All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got I am left-handed at 9-4, taking on the Aaron Rodgers football team at 11-2. Lefties are an 11-point favorite in this one. Couple of high-scoring teams here. The loser has to wear only a Speedo for the entire draft, and the winner gets to ride all over him. We might have an over/under of number of penises drawn on someone's body. That'll be an interesting little side wager, but. No, this one's interesting. Nick, I'm going to toss it over to you first. A couple of high-scoring teams here. 11-point line in Monroe's favor. Where you got?
Monroe's back to full health. I think I'm going to take Kyle with this one. I mean, you look at Tony. He has some issues with bye weeks. He's throwing McNichols in there. He's got Eskridge in there. I think Kyle has enough to cover that 11-point spread, but it'll be right on that borderline there. Just that bye weeks are hurting Tony, really.
Yeah, it's tough when you got to throw Eskridge in there. I mean, that's what you get for counting on two Dolphin receivers.
True.
That's rough for him. So, Jeff, I'm going to toss it over to you. I am not 100% sure where I want to go in this one, so I'm going to give it to you first.
Yeah, I'm going to go – I think I'm also going to go Monroe here. That Eskridge is not screaming good to me. Eckler, if those wide receivers are out, he's just going to have a monster game. So that's a little concerning. But I think a healthy Hopkins for Monroe's team with Murray is going to be nice. Hill, Nick, you mentioned that Chiefs game against the Raiders earlier in the year was a high-scoring one. I could see it again, and Tyreek Hill could have a pretty monster game. So Chubb versus McNichols, if you look down in the flex, I'm leaning Chubb all day, every day. So
it's close.
yeah, squeaking by there. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Monroe and the lefties here. I think they cover that.
Man, I'm back and forth. I look at Jefferson alone. He's going to get peppered. He's going to have a monster day. I look at Elijah Moore. He should similarly get peppered with targets. New Orleans isn't a great matchup as far as he's concerned, being the number one receiver there with Corey Davis out. There's not enough for me. I like Josh Allen. I like Austin Eckler. I like a lot of individual plays, but as a whole, I can't get over it, and 11 points isn't enough. So I'm going to agree with you guys here. I'm going to go with the lefties. I think they're going to take this and cover that line. So before we move on, got a couple of highlights here.
Jeff's keep on cooking.
Who wants some man meat? I do. I want some man meat.
Yeah, early in this week, the Thursday night matchup, there's a guy, Justin Jefferson, that is just going to keep cooking. What was that?
You ever heard of him?
Yeah, you ever heard of him? You should. No Thielen this week, too. I mean, this guy is going to get 20 targets, have 200 yards. He's just unreal, just an animal. So, Justin Jeff's just keep on cooking for this week.
The way you said that, it was like, yeah, he's in an early game. There's a guy like have you ever heard of him? I don't know. His name's Justin. Like he's
Ray McLeod.
Wait.
And then one more highlight to jump into.
Nick's bum of the week.
Spare any change, sir? No, off!
Did you forget you had a bum in this game?
No, I was trying to read the projected point total because wasn't it 50%? Yeah. I can't see shit. I need glasses.
Yeah, it is 50.
So my bum of the week is McNichols. I mean, those two running backs there in Tennessee looked decent. I think that game is going to be run it down Jacksonville's throat. So McNichols, I don't think he's going to get much work here. I think he's going to get lower than 4.1 or 4.1 or lower.
Sure, that works for me. Nick's bum.
Was that a question?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, moving on to our last matchup. We got Benny and the Jets at 10-3, taking on Cobra Kai at 6-7. So the Jets are a 12-point favorite in this one. On the line here, the winner gets to choose the destination of the first annual Stankowski-Stelzer couples vacation. So anywhere in the contiguous 48 states, hopefully it's not like a trip to Houghton or something. Hopefully it's something somewhere cool.
Glamorous.
Oh, nice. So curious who wins and what they decide, but interesting. I saw in the actual quote it was the first annual question mark in parentheses. Yeah. So who knows if it's actually an annual thing? It might be a one-time thing. Maybe one of the wives get tired of it and don't want to do this every year. Don't want to hear about fantasy football the whole trip, but.
Depends how the first one goes.
Well, TBD. Nick, tossing it over to you. What you got in this one?
I think I got Ben this week. Ben's team looks decent. I mean, right now it doesn't. It's hard to tell because he has no one. He has so many buys and zeros in there. But sliding Hunt back up in there. You got Aaron Rodgers should have a decent game against Chicago.
Schultz at that tight end.
Yep, Schultz at the tight end. Gage, we were talking about. He looked pretty decent with a lot of targets last week. I know it's a tough Carolina defense. Is it tough? I still don't really know.
Yeah.
But Lockett has been performing, so good start there. Diggs will have a way better game against Tampa Bay, that high-scoring game, and Kupp is a stud. So I'm going with Benny here.
Jeff, how about you?
I'm also going with Ben. There's a lot of good matchups here. Hunt coming off the bye week. Connor's going to keep going. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game, like I mentioned earlier. Rodgers against the Bears, Sunday night primetime game. I think he's going to ball out. So, you look over on Kyle's side of the ball. He's got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that are banged up. So, does Mitchell go? Robinson, is he hurt? If he fumbles, is he out? Adams, he's going to go. Landry's going to go. They're always kind of guys in there. Hawkinson, for some reason's banged up too. But, yeah, Ben's been just riding a hot hand all year, so I'm going to keep on with him. So,
yeah, the way San Francisco's prepping for this week, I know they just signed a running back off their practice squad, so it's looking like somebody's not going to be in there, and I'm thinking it's going to be Mitchell. I'm thinking he's going to sit this week. interesting that, Dontrell Hilliard's in there in the flex spot for Cobra Kai here. Not sure, maybe Sony Michel could slide in there, but, interesting that 3 Tennessee running backs are getting played across the league right now in flex spots. It's, I think one of them's going to have a good game. Is it Foreman with the touches? Is it Hilliard with the explosiveness? Is it McNichols with, the receiving work? Who really knows? So that's an interesting little tidbit here. But you guys knocked it out of the park. You hit it on the head. It's all Benny and the Jets here. I need a Cobra Kai victory. I'm rooting for Cobra here, but my heart says, it's going to be Benny. It's I got to go there. A little interesting thing, though, we do have
on lockdown. Well, here's the
Travis
that's got the picks on lock.
So Travis has Cobra Kai as his lock of the week.
Ooh, wow.
Travis has got a lot of faith that Cobra Kai is gonna get this win here. I don't know what it is. I don't know who it is, but he's got a lot of faith in Cobra. Maybe he got thrown off by the zeros in Benny's lineup when I screenshotted it and sent it to him. Who knows? But Cobra's locked in as Travis's pick here, so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, because he's not just covering; he picks winners straight up.
He's picking winners. Yeah, that's a Cobra
that's a tough
win.
one. Yeah,
I need it. I want it.
Wow.
He picked me to lose this week, so screw you, Travis. But
wow, screw you, Travis.
All right, with all that out of the way, let's hop into it.
Ask me the questions, Bridgekeeper. I'm not afraid.
This here's Mike's. Will it happen?
All right, Mike, I got a question for you. Will both the lowest seeds, so 11 and 12, meet in the Toilet Bowl Championship this year?
It will not happen.
That was Mike's. Will it happen?
All right, boys, let's lock it in.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Shut up, baby, I know it. Absolute guarantee.
I'll lead us off on the absolute guarantees here. So, going to my matchup against Cooley, there's a lot of players to watch, but the top one to watch is, Saquon Barkley doesn't like being traded, Cools. He's got revenge on his mind, and I think Saquon, in a big revenge game against Grizzly Adams, goes 15-plus on points. I think good game for Barkley here.
Oh. Shut up, baby, I know it.
All right, Nick, what you got?
My guarantee is that Jeff will not win the toilet bowl this year.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Even though, what did I say? Last week, wasn't it Jeff was going to win one of the last 2 games, and I picked Joe this week. Took over a 21-point spread. Right.
He'll be right on
Jeff.
one of those 2, I guess.
What do you got?
My shut up, baby, I know it absolute guarantee is the ring that Mike likes to show off almost every show. Will be coming home. We'll be coming home to Daddy this year.
Wow.
Oh, so it's staying with me. Nice.
Nope.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
I'm Daddy.
Wait, I thought I was Daddy.
Dad.
This got weird and uncomfortable. All right.
I like it.
Shut
up, baby.
With all that out of the way, good luck to everyone this week, unless you're playing one of us. Have a good one. Cool to you, bitch.
Webster's Dictionary defines radish as a swollen, pungent-tasting edible root, high in potassium, which can help lower blood pressure. Or more importantly, 3 guys spitting nonsense and talking about fantasy football. Add salt and pepper and chomp into another episode next time. See y'all later.